A very good afternoon to our guest of honor, Dr. Sweta Adatia, to our mentors, Mr. Dhanuka and Mr. Bhavania, to all our members and to all our guests present here today. Brain health and fitness are extremely important topics, yet many of us know little about them. We are indeed lucky to have Dr. Sweta Adatia with us to help us unlock the secrets to harnessing our brain's full potential. I would like to start by giving a brief introduction of our esteemed organization, Dr. Adatia. So Millennium Mams is a Kolkata-based non-profit founded in 1993 by Bishnu Dhanuka and Mr. Sanjay Bhavania with the sole motive of creating financial awareness and literacy amongst women. The organization has empowered over 10,000 women, equipping them with financial skills through study of business dailies and current affairs, balance sheet analysis, AGM participation, and plant visits. We have 2 more chapters in Bangalore and Mumbai, and we are now global with members joining us across 18 states pan-India, as well as from over 11 countries worldwide. Our training is modeled on the tenets and philosophies of long-term investing belonging to Mr. Warren Buffett. Our team of 29 members, along with our mentor, attended the Berkshire Hathaway AGM in 2019, and we are proud to have represented India as the largest group of women investors from the country. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished guest, Dr. Sweta Adatia. Dr. Adatia is a renowned neurologist leading the neurology department at Gargash Hospital in the UAE, with over 8 years of experience in the region and previous leadership roles as medical director of RAK Hospital. She brings a global perspective from working across Asia, Central Africa, and North America. She holds an impressive 13 gold medals in various subjects, a fellowship with the American College of Physicians, and an MBA from Cambridge University, where she was awarded the Brightest Minds in Cambridge Scholarship. A multi-talented individual, she has excelled in music with a Bachelor of Arts in Harmonium, sports with table tennis championships, and spiritual pursuits, including advanced training in pranic healing, hypnotherapy, and neurofeedback therapy from renowned experts worldwide. Dr. Adatia is the founder of the Limitless Brain Lab in Dubai, using AI algorithms to map brain function for optimal health and performance. She is also the author of the global bestseller Future Ready Now and a sought-after keynote speaker, having delivered a TEDx talk and over 500 seminars on neuroscience topics. A very warm welcome to our forum, Dr. Adatia. And I now invite you to address us with your keynote speech, and then we will go on to the Q&A session.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those kind and humble words. It's all unto the teacher's parampara or the guru parampara. So I'm just a medium. And thank you so much for this wonderful invitation. I was thinking, one more online presentation, I would be talking to myself, and that's not the case here. I'm talking to all of you wonderful faces. I like to make it interactive. So I always say, please open your cameras, please open your cameras. And then, sometimes we have to give discount codes and coupons to the people who keep their cameras on. So that's not the case here. So I'm so happy. And by the way,
we are all excited to see you. So everyone is going to be,
by the way, I also dabble a little bit into the investment part. So if you guys have any tips, very welcome, into the global invest. I think 5th November election is coming. So I don't know what's going to happen in the US market. So I do follow a little bit of markets as well. It's very interesting, right? I think what is going on in the world right now, politically, economically, socially, mentally, physically, it's just it's very sad to some extent also, because the latest statistics which was released from United States of America, I mean, we all look up to USA, right? So when we look up to them, we should not follow them. That's a thing, right? But what was shown in the last statistics was very, very, very depressing. The statistics showed that there were two groups of people. In fact, they did this study, okay? Two groups of people. who were asked a very simple thing. Would you like to sit yourself 15 minutes alone, or you would like to have 70 millivolts of current given to you? This was the question. There was equal group between women and men. And what do you think the outcome of this analysis was? 70% of the men chose to have the electric shocks rather than to sit alone 15 minutes. And 55% of the women chose to have electric shocks as compared to sitting alone. And what they predict is there is going to be a decade of pandemic of loneliness.
Loneliness.
And we are not far out. We are not far out. I mean, Asia, Middle East, we have always been looking up. And so when you look up, you look down as well, right? Dual, everything is life is all about two things, up and down. So that is what we may follow. So we should not follow that. We have an amazing tradition, heritage. We have something which we can look up to. So I think that is the inspiration for me. Inspiration for me also personally is that brain is such a wonderful instrument, and a lot of people underutilize it, underperform, or let's say not optimally use it. So why don't we make a process in which we can optimally use that? And there is a reason why I called it the Apple brain. How many of you have Apples as your go-to phones? Just raise your hands, raise your hands. And why do you think you bought that? A very simple question. Why do you think you bought that?
User friendly.
User friendly. Okay. Don't you think so? Samsung is also user friendly. I mean, my Samsung
It looks
is
cute. The logo looks cute. Apple.
logo looks
half
cute.
it.
That's the first time I have an answer. Okay.
It is a
All
brand.
the devices are connected, so it's very
It's the brand, it's ecosystem.
seamless.
Fair enough. It's seamless. Okay. Samsung is also
It's
fairly
very
seamless, right? Android,
It's very simple to use.
simple
Yeah, very
to use.
simple to use.
I'm Apple challenged. I still feel Android is a little more simple to use.
I
Okay.
feel it's security.
No, one gets
Privacy
used
that
to
Apple
it
gives
also.
We have got used to it.
We have got used to it.
Actually, we
Basically,
have
we
got used to it.
It's because of the
Okay.
marketing, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
marketing. Okay, good thought. Marketing,
Security.
branding, status.
Yes, branding.
Nobody
Yeah.
talks of status. Sometimes they also
Security.
talk of
Very
status.
smooth phone.
Quality.
Quality. Okay. Okay. Now I'm
Yeah.
going to break the myths of all of this. All this you will find it in the top end Huawei phone also. By the way, the Huawei's top end model is even better with all of these features than what you can think about. Apple was one of those companies which understood neuroscience very well. The touch, what the Apple's phone has built or the computer has built, that is 1 to 4 a second, which is almost equal to human touch. So the moment you touch your phone, the registration in the brain is equivalent to that pleasant humanness of the touch. And that is the reason why people don't give up Apple phones. Isn't it amazing? So all the other hulas you will not find, you may find in other phones, but this particular technology is what Apple has cracked. And Apple, obviously, people say that once they use Apple, they cannot use any
Yes,
other
they
phones,
can't
right?
go
It's
back.
like
Yes.
it's done and over with it. Their life is all Apple-fied, let's put it that way. Okay, so that's why I thought of choosing the topic as Apple brain, that there's one big apple sitting here. There's really so many potentials, so many things that we can do and harness from this particular brain. Let me see if my slide runs. Can you guys see my slide? I think
Yes.
Nina did a lot of hula about this, but thank you very much. That's not important. What is really important is essentially mastering the brain, and the art of the brain, the science of the brain can essentially master the life. Once you understand the underpinnings and the functions of the brain, a lot of things becomes easier. So today's talk is going to be a little bit interactive. I want you guys to be aware about the functions of this particular brain. And then we will do a lot of back and forth after 30 minutes. So my time allotted is 30 minutes, plus minus 5. And then we will have a lot of question answers pertaining to the brain health, brain fitness, mental well-being, mental illness. These are very, very, very disappointing statistics. If nothing changes, the people with memory dysfunction or dementia and Alzheimer's, I'm sure you must be listening in the Instagram. A lot of people nowadays have this Instagram thing of they come to us in our clinics and say, oh, doc, I think I have attention deficit. I said, who told you that? Instagram. Because there are these small tests which are going on the Instagram. You have this and that, and also, which is good. That's sort of an awareness, right? And I often say that, thank you for visiting. I'm a second opinion after Google, and I'm completely all right with that. I'm more than happy to give the second opinion after Google has already given multiple opinions, scared you enough also, which is also all right. So 1 out of 2 people will have dementia, will have problems with memory. So if we don't do anything about it, and even mental well-being, 1 in 8 people currently live with a mental health condition. It's very common, especially in the part that I stay and live. I almost every alternate day, I have people coming from top companies, again, from Apple or Tesla or from high consulting companies, BCGs, McKinsey's, Bain's, you name it, and people talk about burnout. So that is very, very, very disheartening again. People, young people, 13-year-olds coming with anxiety, for 14-year-old coming with depression. I mean, when I was a young child, I didn't even recognize these kind of words, and which is what currently in our current generation, this is where we live in. Now, since you guys are all about money, it's all about investment finance. What is your cognitive currency? Have you thought about the brain currency that you hold? And what are the things that you are doing to deposit? Now, if I tell you that I am putting $100,000 in a bank, which is actually taking money from me to keep that money, would you keep the money there? You would say, no, that's a stupid thing to do, right? Let's pull out the money. Let's distribute between the assets of whatever the equity or debt assets. Let's not put it in a bank, which is taking away your money. But that is exactly happening in your brain. Every decade, every 10 years, 5% of the brain is lost, doing nothing at all. 5% is gone. After the age of 65, the chance of having a dementia is 15%, which climbs to close to 20 to 23% after the age of 75. So the brain is any which way shrinking every single day. It's not growing, it's just shrinking. And the beauty of the brain is in the first few years of the life, it is growing at a very absolutely rocket speed. So anybody of you have younger children, 0 to 5? Okay, wonderful. That is the age when the brain is growing at the maximum speed. The speed of growth is 7,000 brain connections, 7,000 brain connections a second. So I often tell the parents that every minute is vital for your children. The time that you spend with the children in 0 to 5, all the things that you put to your children's brains and all the things that you give them to develop is actually making them a better human being in their adult life. In fact, heart problems, diabetes, blood pressure, all of that has been linked to your childhood between 0 and 5. If there was a distressed childhood, lack of vocabulary, lack of care, lack of attention, then you eventually also have these diseases in the adulthood. So it's a very, very interesting, statistics when it comes to these brain this. Can any of you guess what is this? What map is this?
World map.
Are they the
World map?
Aging
That's what-
population.
happiest?
Aging
happiest
population.
Well, I can't
nations?
see anything.
Oh, you can't see anything? Can't you see my map? Beautiful
No.
map?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can.
Okay.
We can.
Demography, I think.
Problem with the brain in the
Brain
different parts.
Problem with the
The
brain, since we are
dark green-
talking of brain, that's a good guess, but it's not
No,
really
no,
the brain.
Age
The dark
demography?
green is where it's more.
Okay, where the what is more? Sorry.
Age demography, like
Mental conditions.
No, the
older
problem
people.
with the brain is more in the areas which are darker.
No.
Older
The
people.
map, we can see India map also.
Developed versus undeveloped.
Okay,
Maybe-
the areas
maybe-
which are darker are showing a problem, and the areas which are lighter are showing less of a problem. And this is the stress. World analysis of the stress that the people are going through. So they measured how many people are undergoing stress. India is no far out. I mean, it's somewhere in the middle range of it. But look at North America, look at certain other countries. It's very disturbing to see these kind of statistics coming out, right? Now, stress again is a modern day hula word, I feel, how many of you going back to our younger days, to our parents, have you ever heard them talking about stress? I mean, there were issues, there were situations, there were problems, there were the same thing what we have right now, but we never heard this kind of a stress as an epidemic, as a pandemic. So that is what we are into. Now, the beautiful thing about the brain, whatever we are going to talk is, I did scare you by saying that 10%, 5% is going out in 10 years. But the beautiful thing is we can hold it, we can stall it, we can play to it, or we can reduce the speed of that change which is happening. And that is what we will aim to do. But before we dwell more into this, I want to ask, how many of you, let's make a group, let's make a group of people, 3 or 4 of you can talk about, and you can raise your hand so then I can speak out your names. Talk about how is the brain serving you, or you are proud of such a thing, you're proud that your brain is giving you that ability. And the second half of the group, let's talk about the problems that your brain is giving. For example, one of the problems can be, I can't remember. All the time I forget the date or whatever, whatever that problem is for you. Let's understand that. Just keep your hands raised and then let's make a, yes, Promila. You need to unmute.
Yeah. So, hi. I think that whatever I'm exercising, like if I am, let's say, being angry all the time, my brain is giving me those signals to become angry. If I am, exercising, let's say, compassion or, various attributes, the brain gives you signals for that. And
Okay. But
definitely,
what is it that is serving you? What is the best thing in your brain which serves you? What is your quality of the brain which serves you in your life?
which serves me.
I think it's memory.
Okay. That's memory for you. Okay, fantastic. Garima, what is for you? What serves you? Your brain, you can be confident about that ability in your brain that yes, I have it.
I'm very quick at solving
Wonderful.
puzzles
Quick
and stuff.
So reaction time is good. Okay, very good. Neha?
Mine would also be remembering, but then off late I'm realizing that I don't remember. Earlier, I used to remember 4 numbers like in one go. Now it's which numbers I remember, I keep remembering, but new numbers I can't.
So there's something called the Google effect because we can always go and refer to the Google. So those kind of memory is getting shrinking, from a lot of people. So that I'm sure in future there'll be something called the Chat GPT effect as well. Okay, but in general, your memory is serving you. Okay, Chaitali, Vandana, one by one, quickly. Let's see what is serving.
I want to say the other way around. If I don't note down, I don't remember it. I have to note down, then only I remember.
What is serving you? What is the quality in the brain which serves you? So for example, my brain is very fast in understanding things. So what is serving?
It is like the knowledge in my brain and the experience I have. That is, like gives me confidence and move ahead in life.
Okay, very good. Anything what is disserving? Couple of people. What does not serve you? Like I get, frustrated looking at a certain challenge or certain problem. What is not serving? Yes.
My brain works faster when I'm in any trouble.
Oh, yes.
It always helps me there.
Very good.
I have a big problem with remembering names.
Okay. Names is a very, very common thing which most people after the age of 55 have because there is an exclusive area in the brain which sort of starts to shrink first, and that is related to the name. Faces come much later.
Even before, I always had this problem with names.
Yeah. Anything which is not serving. So names is a problem which is not serving you. What else?
Yeah.
Keep forgetting things.
Yeah, now, keep forgetting.
Seconds. Keep forgetting in seconds.
Okay, which is attention. We'll talk about that. What else? What is not serving? Anybody would you feel that that's challenging, your brain cannot perform that.
Brain freeze or brain fog.
Brain fog. Okay.
Yeah, brain fog.
Yeah. Brain fog. And sometimes I would also say that if it in your situation, if you're not calm, you're not composed, you tend to just, forget everything. So it's very important to bring yourself to your center and then,
Absolutely. So sometimes you lose grounding or you lose that anchoring effect in the brain and then you just go all over the place and then the cognitive fog challenge is not able to overcome. Wonderful. So it's very, very important for us to understand. Thank you all for the responses. Very important how the brain functions. Now, I'm going to give you a small fitness score, which our lab has built. So go back and do it or just take the relevant details here. So I will just share that screen so you can take it's on www.drswetaadatia.com. I'm going to skip a slide and show. Okay. Anyways, that will come. So www.drswetaadatia.com. Just do it. It's a brain fitness score, which we have developed. 40 to 50, not so good. 50 to 60 is okay-ish. More than 60, very good. So if you are 40 to 50, start working on your brain health right away, today, now. That's like an emergency. 50 to 60, some things can be fixed and you can be fine. 60 and above is very good. So whatever you have been doing in your lifestyle, that is good. So drswetaadatia.com, okay? Now, why is it important for us to understand this thinking about thinking? Because then we can manipulate it. We can understand how can memory be changed, how can challenges be overcome, how can reaction time be improved. And because brain is such an important organ, I often joke and I say rest of all the organs are completely not so important or vestigial. Brain is really important because it has trillions of synapses, 2.5 petabyte of memory. 1 petabyte is almost equal to 1 million gigabyte. If I stack all the memory, my Burj Khalifa in the tallest building in the world also will not be enough. Trillions of synapses. The connections are just absolutely stupendous when it comes to 86 billion brain cells that we have. One single pinhead, if I take, easily 70 to 80,000 brain cells I can see. And the speed at which the chemical messengers are working or electricity is working is just absolutely phenomenal. Let's do an experiment. All of you put your hands like this. This experiment is very quick and easy way to show that how your thinking is going to influence your brain, your body, your mind, pretty much everything. One single thought, how it can change. So keep your hands like this, folded in front, Namaskar Mudra. Keep watching the middle finger. For some of you, the two fingers will be equal. For some of you, one will be taller. Shout out if it's equal for you. I can see for a few of you. I cannot see, but watch it like this. Watch it tangentially. Watch it tangentially. Okay, what is it for you, Pooja? Neha, Sangeeta.
One is taller.
One is taller. Please remember wherever it's taller. For equal, just raise your hand if it's equal for all
Mine
of you.
is equal.
Equal. It'll be equal for most of you. Wonderful. Equal. Beautiful. For the people where the right or left is taller, please remember that. Okay. Remember the right or the left, whatever is taller for you. You need to keep it in your mind. Okay. Now remove your hand. Listen to the instructions very carefully. And by the way, I have zero knowledge of hypnosis. That I was not trained in hypnosis, so I don't know any hypnosis. All that is going to happen is all because you will do it. Pick up any finger of your choice, right or left, does not matter. Pick up any finger of your choice and make it taller in your brain, in your mind. Keep the image. Think of that. If I'm thinking of a right getting taller, my right finger is getting taller, my right finger is getting taller, my right finger is getting taller. Do that. For the people where it was equal. For the people where one finger was taller than the other, make it equal. So in your brain, imagine that it's getting equal. Imagine that it's getting equal. Clear? Everybody is okay with the experiment? Okay. So you can close your eyes if you want to, remove your hands and keep thinking just in your brain and mind. I love when I say focus, everybody closes their eyes, you know, and that one reason is because I want to stop all the distractions around so that I can focus. It's Meghna just immediately did that. Very good. So that's a little hack to focus and attend. Okay. So keep doing that. Think, whatever right or left, it's getting taller, it's getting taller, it's getting taller. Jyotiji, you can remove your hand for now. You have to keep it in your mind. Just keep thinking in your mind. Thinking in your mind. Rachna, you can remove your hand. Just keep thinking. Just keep thinking of the thing. You can just dismantle your hands. Don't use your hands for now. Keep thinking, keep thinking. Keep thinking, keep thinking. And one last time, whatever the finger you choose, taller, 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 taller. And let's do it again. And now raise your hands if it did change for you. Quickly raise your hands. Changed. Yes. For Jyoti also it changed. For Shri Priya. Wonderful, wonderful. This is an experiment in neurophysiology. It is not a hypnotic experiment. It is when we took the calipers, when we actually measured the caliper, there was a change in the finger. Now, just a little thought which you kept in the mind for few seconds, physiologically, it changed the processes. Don't you think so? This is absolutely incredible. And what do? We keep the thought of worry, anger, anxiety, not so feeling good all the time. And what will happen? What will happen to our bodies? You know, all the cancers and all the things, the diabetes and blood pressures and everything will start to happen because of your thought. So thought determines the action, action determines your habit, habits determine your character determines your destiny. That's a beautiful thing that we hear, right? That's because the thinking is essentially very, very, very powerful. Even the smallest of attention of the thought can change literally life. Yes, this is if you want to take a picture of this, take this. This is where you will go ahead and do the brain fitness score. And please tell me also, maybe Meghna can give some, or, you know, go to my YouTube channel and then me, I don't mind. Tell me what are your scores, because I'm really interested in knowing your brain's fitness. Okay. So my score always is
sorry to
65 and above.
interrupt, but I'm Pramila. I'm not being able to see the screen, anything that you're posting.
Really? But
I'm sure it's something to do with my
problem on your end.
Check your
yes, my end, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Oh, now I am. Now I can see.
Yeah. So I hope everybody else is. Meghna, just watch around, because
yeah. Everyone else can
wonderful,
see
wonderful.
it. Yes.
So everybody can see this.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Sometimes, the computers are a little acting funny. Okay, there are three fundamental brains that we all of us have. Okay, thinking. We just saw how thinking was important. There's one thing called brain stem, which is like basic thinking, breathing. Then there is an emotional system, which is very important for safeguarding, for protecting us. Any threat which comes in. In the good old days, threat used to be what? Lions and tigers. In today's time, what is the threat? A boss's email, spouse's anger, children not listening to you, WhatsApp. Suddenly a WhatsApp comes, I don't love you. I mean, the more of the communication means have actually led to more miscommunication. Do you guys agree to that? Every time, WhatsApp is like a constant source of reading the mind and talking out the mind, and anything rubbish also comes on the WhatsApp. And the last brain is the frontal brain. Frontal brain is very, very important for judgment, for what is good and bad, discrimination, ability to think for the future, ability to decide. So all of us have these three brains, but most of the time we reel in this emotional brain, also called the limbic brain. I'm only trying to protect, and hence fight, flight, fear, and freeze. Something comes up, I want to run away. Something comes up, I don't want to face. I'm always fearful. But most times we don't use this frontal cortex. And in the lab, we studied all the people who did peak performance. Some were leaders, some were athletes, some of the people. There was one girl, Nicole, who stood on Burj Khalifa. So we could invite her. And she actually was the one who did the stunt by standing on Burj Khalifa. I had a parachute jumper who did 27,000 jumps without any single error. I had a person who is Shatavadan, who 100 things he can remember all at once. And when we study their brains, there are three important things that we see in their brains. The front portion of the brain is more active as compared to the limbic system. Second is both sides of the brain are talking to each other, which is very, very important. And the third important thing is there are 4 brain waves which are all balanced. And I'll talk about those brain waves in a bit. These were the 3 important things what we were seeing. So this is how the brain sort of the thing looks like. When we actually dissect also, we can see these brain fundamentals present. What is this? Can anybody tell me what is this?
Ice cream is
Ice cream is good.
Yeah, okay, ice cream is good. Ice cream is good. Ice cream is good. Okay, everybody thinks it's ice cream is good. Well, it is this. This is how the brain perceives. The brain's first perception is whatever is evident, whatever is seen, whatever is obvious. The brain does not want to force itself. Any of you step back and thought, oh, possibly it can be something else. It won't happen because the brain runs in that way. Brain runs in a way that there is one system one, which is effortless, very quick, easy, skilled response. I know it, impulsive. And the system two needs attention, reason, concentration. For people who have very well developed front part of the brain, they run the system two very easily, very quickly. They don't have this impulsive reaction. They don't have this fight, flight, fear, freeze. They immediately go to the system two, go back and get the rational answer, and then come down to the system one. The system 1 and 2 was proposed by Dr. Daniel Kahneman. He's one of the award-winning and obviously Nobel laureates in thinking. There's a beautiful book called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. Very, very important if we want to really perform in life. If I want to have the best brain which serves me, very important that I activate my system too. I activate my frontal cortex most of the times in the situations that come in. Brain is the laziest of all organ. It just wants to be there. 20 to 25% of the oxygen it takes, the blood flow it takes, but it does not like to do any work. It always likes to sleep in the comfort zone, just the survival, bare necessity. So most people you will always see either in the growth, survival, or propagation. GCP, what we call it, phase. Very few people step up to evolution, or very few people make it happen because of their brain power, because it is an effort. How many of you have heard that, success does not come from the comfort zone, it comes from the effort zone. And that effort zone is nothing but building the brain, building this front portion of the brain, which can be done. It's a very, very dedicated process and it can be done. When your frontal cortex is active, empathy comes in, insights come in, attuned communication come in, morality comes in, your fear modulation happens, emotional regulation happens. So, there are people now, visionaries who have founded, for example, Millennium Mams, right? Not easy. You have to think ahead in time. Right now, 18 countries, so many people participating. It's just does not happen. It has to happen with this prefrontal cortex. Otherwise, most of the times we are only judging, we are only taking care of our emotions, which is the limbic brain. So very important for us to have the prefrontal cortex built. Now, most animals would have a very small prefrontal cortex. How many times have you seen a elephant, or elephants are a little bit slightly still intelligent? How many of the times you see a cow which is completely immersed in a discriminative thinking, Viveka Buddhi, what we call? They do not have the Viveka Shakti or the Viveka Buddhi or the discrimination power. Only we as human beings possess that. And that is the reason why, spiritually speaking, also, frontal lobe is also the seat of human consciousness. Please remember that. Kal utke, any evolution, anything that you want to spiritually advance your life, anything that you want to do ahead, if your frontal lobes are not developed, then there is no question of any spiritual evolution as well. And we as human beings are only given this amazing priority or privilege. Now, most of the times, people, we saw that stress map, they do not understand this optimal function or the balance between the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. They are overpowering the limbic, so they are into the anxiety, panic, exhaustion mode, and hence burnout, or they're too inactive, there's too much of boredom. So somewhere we have to be in the center, somewhere we have to be in the peak performance, somewhere. So when we say peak, and very interesting, I was attending one seminar on biohacking few days back, and Mahesh ji had come. And he was talking about one very interesting thing. And he said, why do you want peak performance? The very first thing of peak performance is clarity of your life. Are you clear on why you are living? Why are you here in a certain role? Are you clear where you want to go next? So clarity is also a very, very important component. Most peak performers, when we interview them, the first thing is they are extremely passionate and clear on their purpose. So if you want to achieve that, first thing in life is just to become clear on where you're going. Now, I did talk about the 4 brain waves, and I will just touch upon it. It's a long little this, but all the stuff you'll find it on my YouTube as well at Dr. Sweta.Adatia. We do measure the brain's functions. We exactly can map and tell you what is your limbic system like, what is your prefrontal, how many times this is connected, etc. So at our lab, we do absolutely multiple runs of each of their brains. And my own brain essentially was a big eye-opening for me. Many years back, I had a little bit of an emotional upheaval. My best friend, she was like 22 years of my friendship with her. She was like a family friend. She was like a little sister, which we grew up together. And one fine day, she just left me, like there was a ghosting which happened. She was no more in my life. And that was very difficult for me to take it. My emotional system was completely shattered and broken. And luckily, I was traveling to US, and they were studying the people where they were studying the actually romantic breakups. So I just told the professor, I said, can you just scan my brain as well? And then they scanned my brain, and what was shown was eye-opening for me. What was shown was the area of the brain called VTA, or the ventral tegmental area, was hyperactive. And the same thing you will find in a heroin addict, which means I was so dependent, I was so codependent on that relationship that my brain was now not able to accept that. My brain was not able to leave that thing. I was constantly ruminating. So I told the professor, I said, I think you have de-addiction protocols. Now I need one de-friending protocol, I really have to work on myself. I have to keep working and get my brain out of this. I came back to my lab and I told my guys, I said, why don't you also scan me one EEG, electroencephalograph, and find out and tell me, can we correlate this? And then they found the exact same thing, that my limbic system was constantly running. My prefrontal cortex was not right. My asymmetry was there. There were a lot of functions of the waves which I was not producing because of the stress, the sheer rundown of that stress. And that was, again, a very big eye-opening. I decided, I stepped back and I said that I will improve this brain. I will take it to the level wherever it's best necessary. And it was a journey. So I sort of started to record my own brains in various timelines. And what I understood was the old times integrative practices, the Anulom Vilom, the breathing practices, the Brahmari or the humming bee, the Yogasana practices, the Tratak or the focus practices, all those came to my rescue, the different types of meditations and all that. And with every single technique, I was able to see the changes. So we started to map all those changes. And once we found that this is doing it, we started to bring more people into the lab and study it even further. So that's how the entire journey came in. Now, there are 4 fundamental brain waves, which you all have to remember, and very, very important. The first wave is called the beta wave. As I'm talking to you, you are listening. That's the beta, beta, beta. It's a fast rhythm. When I am little relaxed, I close my eyes. That is alpha. It's a sinusoidal rhythm. The moment just before I go to sleep, it's theta. And the moment I sleep, it's delta. All the 4 waves are very important to be produced. And most of the seminars, I ask this question to the people, how many time in a day or how many minutes do you spend closing your eyes and building alpha? Please do a day audit and tell me how many times do you do that? In the good old days, we used to do Sandhya Vandana. We used to pray in the evening. So we used to close our eyes. We used to do morning prayers, right? We used to do the Prabhat Vandana. So we used to close our eyes then. But currently, in today's time, how many times consciously I close my eyes and I sit? The answer is sometimes 1 minute, 2 minutes, or none, almost none. Our children, how many times do they do that? They also will mirror us. There's a mirror phenomena going on. So none. And that is very, very bad because alpha is not produced then. You are not practicing. You're not modulating that brain wave. Theta is just before you go off to sleep. It is a natural, so somebody who cannot do meditation, try doing before going to sleep. It's a quick hack because your brain is already into theta and you will immediately get into that state or the meditative feeling or the trance feeling or the feeling of high, whatever you call it. And delta is when you fall off to sleep. So very important to have these 4 brain waves mapped. This is the brain wave I was talking about, the Shatavadan, the guy who remembers 100 things. Dr. Kalai, he's a dear friend of mine as well. And in his brain, what you're seeing, alpha, theta, beta, delta, everything is red because that is high amplitude. Everything is very high amplitude and functional, fully functional. Entire brain is wrapped in theta, entire brain is wrapped in alpha. And what you can see, the asymmetry, I don't have the coherence picture, the both sides of the brains are perfectly aligned and working. So that is what we need to achieve. That is what you and me have to go. Now, when I did a small study on meditation, how is each of the brainwave related? Let me show you this thing. So this is again a colleague of mine at the lab. So we had the theta. Can you see on my left side of the screen where you see a little red dot in the theta?
Yes.
Yes, that red little dot in the theta after 5 minutes of meditation. Okay, it was a very, very simple guided. I was only guiding her into the meditation. Simple 5 minutes, no music, zero, nothing at all. And look at the theta, what was formed on the right hand side. It just exploded. So now if I continuously keep practicing that, my brain understands and learns to make that wave optimally, functionally, powerfully, adequately, correct place where it is required. I don't want a theta in the front. I want a theta at the back. So that is what can happen. The same thing we wanted to translate. How can you apply in your life? So have a simple algorithm called movers. Very, very simple. M for meditation, O for oxygenation. And my favorite go-to for oxygenation is ocean breathing. V for visualization. Visualize where you are going. Clarity of life. E for exercise. R for reading something which is affirmative and positive, and S for scribing, which is negative, which you don't want, which is not serving you. So this movers is a very, very quick and easy fix for ourselves. Every day what I need to do, I just need to do these things 5 minutes of my life and all the brain waves can be modulated. I include all the functions of each parts of the brain very quickly and very easily. Now, what was seen also was very interesting. Let me show you. I'm going to skip a few slides because I want to discuss more of the questions. There was a very interesting thing that happened after Brahmari. I was talking to you guys about the various techniques which I use, right? One of the technique I used was called the humming bee technique. All simply, you just take a deep breath and then in the exhalation, you do that practice. That very, very, very simple. Now, look at this thing. I was completely blown by this finding. You look at the red thing, what you see beta on the left-hand side, a small little strip of the beta, which is in the front. Focus on the high beta, slightly yellow and orange, which is seen. One single Brahmari, and we will practice it together. One single humming bee, very, very simply, there's no hula, again, no music, nothing at all. Look at the high beta which it produced on the right-hand side quickly, which means my focus will improve, my concentration will improve, my attention span will improve. Now, look at here, coherence. What you're seeing as coherence, which means 2 sides of the brain talking to each other. You see the red partially connected, and look at on the right, like a thick network and mesh which was connected. One single Brahmari, one single humming bee. So all the people who just now talked about attention, about memory, about issues with focus, I don't remember the names, start practicing humming bee. Even for a couple of times, you will see a massive change. And once you keep on practicing, your brain sort of adapts to it. Okay, so let's practice that. All of you sit straight. Take a nice deep breath. We don't even breathe from the diaphragm. There's a big muscle called diaphragm. We often keep breathing from the chest, right? So it's first very important to deep breathe. Real deep breath. Sit straight. And how you say the word king or ing, the last part of it, what you speak from the throat, that is what we will put pressure on. Now, some people do closing the tragus, ear and all that. We don't do any of those. Very simply, the idea is that humming sound should be translated in as a harmonic inside your body, okay? Taking a nice deep breath, follow me. Now you can unmute and we'll all do it together. So everybody gets that sound also. People who cannot sleep well, you should record your own Brahmari sound and then replay it at night. It's very good for sleeping. Okay. Again, everybody wait. Take a nice deep breath. Wonderful, wonderful. Feeling. What is the feeling? Can quickly some of you share? What is the feeling?
Very relaxing.
Calming.
Calming, relaxing, feeling
Relaxing.
centered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vibrations.
Yes.
Quite it's very soothing. The buzz is very soothing.
Very soothing.
Pain and you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
I
that one
can feel
single-
it in my temples.
Yes. Yeah, you can
Feeling
feel
light,
a bit of
I can
heaviness.
feel it in the
after doing.
temples.
You feel
Yeah.
refreshed
Yes,
after
you feel
doing.
fresh. Thank you for saying that, because all that high beta, you feel very focused. You feel very attentive, at the same time very calm. So look at the alpha on here, where it was slow, little blue, it just sort of spread across. So you're feeling focused, you're feeling concentrated, at the same time you're feeling calm. So only one single rhythm changed this significantly. So I was absolutely mind blown at this. And then it became like a regular practice for me, because this is a simple, easy hack to do that. Now, visualization is very powerful. I'm going to take another 5-7 minutes, Meghna, if that's okay. Very powerful and important is visualizing where you want to go. Clarity of the thinking, clarity of what my tomorrow looks like, my next week looks like, my year looks like, my life looks like. There was an experiment which was done, and that is what is put up here, Leon Pascal. He took up two groups of people. One group of the people actually physically practiced the piano, and the second group of the people visually imagined those notes which were playing. And both of them played for 3 months. In the group which was physically playing, the brain scan was done. And in the group which was mentally practicing, brain scan was done. You'll be surprised to know that both the parts or both the groups had almost equal growth of the brain, which means even visualizing, simply making it clear, your brain's pathways are already getting formed. Your brain is getting already prepared for it. Hence, the best practice for an optimum functioning is the night before you go to sleep, plan your day. Picturize it, what you're going to do right from the morning until you go to bed at night. Already your brain will start to prepare those chemicals, those circuits. It will all happen. So visualization is a very, very, very powerful practice. Walking, I cannot stress enough. Exercise is super, super important and necessary. It produces lots of serotonin, lots of mood busters, endorphins. Very important to at least 20 to 25 minutes move. Even if you can't walk, at least move in your house, do some kind of exercises, because moving is extremely important. Reading, as I said, something affirmative, something positive, something in the morning not related from your mobile phone, because mobile phones have the most destructive and distracting abilities. The moment you are doing something, suddenly you will reach into the WhatsApp. From that WhatsApp, you will reach into Facebook. From that Facebook, God alone knows, you'll go to Amazon. You will shop something which you never wanted. Something will come in which was never there. So you go back to that order. So some other completely a new circuit will start. So something which is in the book, something which is very different and distinct from your digital this, write out anything which is bothering you. A lot of us are carrying a lot of things emotionally. That emotional limbic system is like a little pressure cooker. So this is called catharsis. So write out everything what is not serving you. Write out what is bothering you. If there is some fear, nobody spoke about fear in today's, when I asked what is not serving you. A lot of people carry fear. A lot of people carry doubts, self-doubt. I cannot perform. Limiting belief that I can never do this. Limiting belief that I don't look good. Limiting belief that I'm not enough. I don't think so I can make it happen. Limiting belief as a woman. How many of you do have that? I had that as a woman, I can only do certain things, in this world. Yes, please. Thank you for saying that, because these are all the limiting beliefs that is going through the generations that we harbor, that we have inside. Writing it down, finishing off, because the moment your mind is on table, the moment your brain is on table, many years back, that is what my spiritual teacher told, that put your mind on table, put your brain on table. I never understood that. Very, very, many years later, I understood what she means is create a distance between who you are as a person and what your mind is going through. Otherwise, mind will be down, you will be down. Mind will be up, you will be up. We will go through these roller coasters of the mind and keeping us, always uneasy, unhappy. So best is to remain happy, to create this distance. By the way, the breathing techniques, Ujjayi, ocean breathing, the breathing, Bhastrika, bellows breathing, all this allows you to create this bridge. Even the humming bee that you did allows us to create this bridge. This bridge allows us to see our mind clearly, to see our brain's functions clearly. Very, very, very important and necessary. Sleep, oh my God, I can take an entire class on that, but my master class on sleep is coming. It's coming on Udemy very soon. There's so many aspects of the sleep. I feel sleep is a ritual. I don't know whether I'm going to get up in the morning. It's like a little mini death. How many times do we recognize that it's like a little ritual, We just take sleep so lightly. There are so many things which you can fix in the sleep. There are so many ways to hack so many things. And I'm a huge fan of Yoga Nidra. I will be speaking a lot about the Yoga Nidra, the techniques of sleeping, the yogic way of ritualistic sleeping, etc. and all. But very important thing, what happens in the sleep is it cleans up all our toxins. So your memory dysfunction comes from accumulation of toxins. There is a system called glymphatic system, which is active. It's the only system which is active during your sleeping. So when you're sleeping, and particularly on the side, that's always the preferred thing, either left or the right. It clears off all the toxins. So give 8 hours, give enough time to sleep. Very, very important. Foods, oh my God, as Indians, we have all the fancy things around the food, right? But very, very important and necessary. Foods have a very important role in the brain's function. I'm a great fan of diversity. 50 to 60 different types of the food in a week, because you want to serve all the bacteria in your stomach. 50 to 60 foods, which is not easy. We keep on eating the same diet over and over and over and over again, not serving the brain, not serving serotonin, not serving all the chemicals. So very, very important to have diversity. There is a beautiful book called Three Brains, amazing stuff on the gut-brain axis. We'll not talk about it today, but very, very important to understand that. Sorry, I think there's some problem in my this. And then I cannot stress the importance of using your senses. And this is going to be my last thing. Very important. How do you use your senses right? What we call as neurobics. For example, how many times have you tried, let's put it, have you tried brushing? If you're a right-handed person, I'm a right-handed person, so I brush with right hand. How many times have you tried with the left hand? Yeah, good. Some of you have tried it. Wonderful. And how many times have you tried taking a shower by closing your eyes? No, nobody has tried that. Okay, you have, and I hope you didn't fall.
And
You should
it is
not
in
fall.
cubicle, so yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy. So that is what we call neurobics. When you are using or combining multiple senses, you are combining your non-dominant sensations or non-dominant, your brain is growing. This is a very quick and easy hack. Smells. You know why we have these agarbattis and incense sticks in the house? Those dhupa and in every Indian family and house, you will see that in the first thing in the morning. I still remember my father putting that in the morning every single day. What is the reason? Why do we need that?
Well, from
What it does to the brain?
activates the brain.
Activates the sense of the smell in the brain.
It deactivates, it does not activate, it deactivates the limbic system. It deactivates the fight, flight, fear system, which means your frontal cortex is now ready. Frontal cortex can think straight. So limbic deactivation is also very important, right? Otherwise, I will always be in the fear, I'll always be in the flight state. So smell olfactory system. There are many, many olfactory hacks because the olfactory system is quickly connected to that limbic system. So very important to use the smells to your benefit. Tasting, there are 6 important tastes. Most of the times we do not give, there are 7 tastes. In fact, the Indian system has 7. There's also something called Unani. There are 7 different tastes. Very, very important to alter our sensations and tastes as well for the brain growth, for the growth of the brain cells. Trying new language. How many of you know more than 3 languages? Okay, very good. Fantastic. A lot of you know more than 3. How many of you know 4 languages? Okay, few of you. How many of you know 5 languages? Learning as many languages, hacking different parts of the brain. So that's very, very good and important for the brain's growth as well. Trying to do something new every single day is also very important. Trying to learn something new. I think you guys have learned finance. You guys have learned all the balance sheets. And first time when I went to my MBA, I was like, what does this financial sheet look like? I'm a complete biology student. The financial sheet was like a complete, voodoo for me. But it was very important and interesting, pushing for my brain to learn completely something which was not part of what my brain was used to it. So learning something new, very, very important. So all these are the hacks which we should keep in mind for an Apple brain. Apple brain is a quality brain. It's a status brain. It's the best brain that you can have. Once you have that brain, you don't go back to the older version. You don't go back. You always try to upgrade it. You always try to get the next 15 Pro or the 16 Pro version of it. And you always beat it because then people look up to you as Apple brain, So that is what my vision, mission, prayers is for you guys. And that's my latest book, which is also, I think Meghna talked about it. All my socials, I'm extremely flexible. I love to meet people. I love to interact, chat. So everything is available up there. My mobile number, my WhatsApp, and my socials. So more than happy to connect. Thank you very much, Meghna, and the team of entire Millennium Moms. Thank you also the founders. I'm extremely grateful for allowing me, Vishnuji, to come and talk to this amazing audience. The first time, I am not telling, but very first time, everybody on the video, I'm extremely humbled. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adatia. The hacks that you shared for the Apple brain, I think none of us are going to forget it. And we have one request, since, we have a whole lot of questions for you. Is it okay if we run the session till 4:15?
No problems at all. No
Great.
problems.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to now invite our Calcutta chapter president, Shraddha Poddar, to come and take the Q&A session. Shraddha?
Can I stop sharing the screen?
Yes,
Is this
please.
done?
Yes, please.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
Can I remove this? Oh,
thank you.
Oh, there's a ton of questions on this. Good. Okay.
Good afternoon, Dr. Adatia. It was a brain-boosting, insight-packed session. So much of food for thought. I think we all are going to have a sleepless night today and think about it more and more, how to implement whatever you said. So to start with, I'll start with my question. Intuition, this word really excites me and I'm really curious about it always in my life. So I would like you to talk about it and how do you think this intuitive ability can be nurtured or better understood, especially in today's data-driven world?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. See, unfortunately, we only understand IQ or intelligence as a means of learning or intelligence as a means of knowledge. In the good old days, if you look at all the rishis, you look at all the people who were there, they used to get the knowledge. There was this learning which happened, learning which was not done, learning which happened. That was through intuition. So it was intuitive knowledge. Unfortunately, in the data-driven world, as you rightly mentioned, in the AI-driven world, in the intellectual sort of connoted world, we are forgetting intuition. But developing the prefrontal cortex is the only way to build intuition. That will automatically give you that intuition. It is very important to understand that we have to evolve. We have to make our children also evolve. And we can't just live ourselves limited into this limbic fight, flight, fear thing. We have to make strides. We have to make way for that prefrontal cortex. Intuition will come. Automatically, it will happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll invite Sweta Adatia for the next question, please.
Yeah, thank you, Shraddha. Thank you, Dr. Sweta. My question is around our current generation, Doctor. So given the challenges and the peer pressures that our children are growing up with, I mean, what is the one message for us as parents? You know, how do we sort of manage this? And what is some ritual that you think our children should follow, you know, for mental well-being and
thank you for saying that. I think all the things, we are too old to take a lot of this, but we can take this to our younger generation, right? That is also the purpose of myself and my lab, because that we are coming up with a program called My Limitless Brain for 12 to 18-year-olds. The entire vision of My Limitless Brain is to harness the limitless potentials by integrative methodologies, making various small labs, for example, lab for confidence, lab for speaking, lab for intuition, as you rightly mentioned, so that the soft skills are also equally developed in the data-driven world. So it's a process, it's a method. In the previous good old days, there used to be Gurukula and all. Now it's digital Gurukula. It's okay. We will adapt to that and we will make it happen. But yes, very important for us to do that right, so that we are living with a generation which is going to contribute to the planet, leaving a legacy which is giving back to the humanity, which is preserving the humanness. So 100% very important. It can be done, by the way. The children are much easier, much better brains to mold than the older brains.
True. Thank you.
Bhavika for the next question.
Thank you, Shraddha. Hi, Dr. Sweta. My question is, in spite of we having a very healthy lifestyle, emergency situations, neurological conditions like stroke happens. Is there any ways where we can predict this and prevent this?
See, strokes are very common. Genetically also, we are, as Indians also, Indian origins and Asian origins also, we are prone for that. Look at we are the diabetic capital of the world, right? Because genetically speaking, the way our food, lifestyle, everything is contributing to that. I always say we come with a loaded gun. The trigger is in our hand. The loaded gun is the genes, and the trigger is our lifestyle. So loaded gun mein wo uska to hum kuch kar nahi sakte. We can't do much about the genes, but what we can do is the triggers. So keeping the healthy lifestyle and all that. Despite that, strokes can happen. Very important to remember, the first 4 hours is when we can bust the clot. The first 4 hours fast. Face, arm, speech, and time. Very important to go to the right hospital where they can give the clot busting drug. So we run a foundation called Step for Health India Foundation. And generally, that is where most of my donations go to, where we help the people to reach to these places where they can get the treatment in the right time, because it's very important to treat within the first 4 hours.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Rashmi Chawal for the next question, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This was really fascinating. So, ma'am, we are a part of this thing where Sir takes the classes for Bhagavad Gita in our Sanskar vertical every 2 days per week. And so there was this question in my mind, which we have been trying to, So the question is that there is always a conflict between the mind and the intellect. And it's like a fight between the 5 Pandava and the 100 Kaurava forces. And our mentor, Mr. Dhanuka, who's following Bhagavad Gita and teaching us for many years, he says that if you're in the present, there is no mind. But we are struggling to be in the present continuously. So could you give us some workaday modules to follow this, or your views on this? How to go about it?
Wonderful, beautiful question. And that's a great thing, I think, Vishnuji, what you're doing, because I think Bhagavad Gita is like a master manual, right? Master manual for life, master manual for anything that you want. And it is not centered to any particular religion. It's for humanity. It's for all of us. I'll come back to your last question, why we cannot remain in the present. See, brain has something called the default mode network. There's a special network. There are 7 networks in the brain. There's salience network, attention network, dorsal network, but that's not important. What is important is this default mode network, DMN. Most of the times when I'm not doing anything, I'm just free riding. I'm not focusing on anything. I'm not concentrating. Automatically, my DMN is active. And that is allowing me to only ruminate about the past. What did I do yesterday? This was right or wrong? Did I tell this or not? What is she thinking about me? What is he thinking about me? And or fear of tomorrow or anxiety of tomorrow. What if this will not go right? What if this goes wrong? So the brain in that default mode record is only switching between the two. Yogis, meditators, people who have prayed, people who are doing evolutionary practices, people who have developed the prefrontal cortexes, their default mode network is under control. It is not activated in that time. So that is the reason they can live in the present. That present moment is possible for them. So technically, scientifically speaking, that is how you can do it. Now, the question comes is about the mind, your first part. Where is the mind? Can anybody tell me where is the mind? I just spoke about the brain, right? I can dissect the brain. I can bring on table. I can say, this is the limbic system. By the way, many years back, I get reminded of that thing. I was appearing for my exams in NIMHANS in Bangalore. It was a neuropathology exam. And the professor put the brain in front of me and they said, what is this? I said, it's a brain. And he says, get out. Okay, I went out. My second candidate walks in, my friend, and said, what is this? Brain, get out. 3 of us were walked out. Now, all the 3 of us were wondering, it was a brain. Why did he push us out? And then we recognized it was a cow's brain. So the frontal lobe was small and the brain stem was big, and we did not have the astuteness to observe that, So brain, I can put on table and I can see, but question comes is, where is the mind? Can anybody tell me where is the mind? Try. Where is the mind? In the brain?
Oh, no. It's in every part of our body.
Okay.
My mind is in your class.
Oh, thank you. That's a good answer.
Mind
your focus is.
Ma'am, Chetna is our mind.
Chetana. Okay, hold on to that thing. I get reminded, I was talking to a Gujarati crowd and they said, yo, doc, you're asking such a silly question. My mind is always in the stomach. I said, yes. Gujaratis, the typical, I'm also Gujarati, by the way. So anyways.
What I know is like we have, as humans, like we have 7 layers other than this thing. So it is in the 3rd layer, I believe, right? Mental layer.
Okay, but where in that, okay, mental layer is, where is that mental layer? What is the extent of that mental layer?
It is not in my physical self. It is away from my physical self.
Until what? Can it be until Dubai? Can it be until Canada? Where is your mental layer existing? Or can it be until moon? Can it be until sun? Where is that mental layer?
Anywhere
Wherever the mind travels.
हम लोग जो पढ़े हैं संशयात्मिका निश्चयात्मिका जो बोलते हैं वो पता है मुझको बस खाली इन
It goes anywhere. My mind, this moment can reach anywhere, but any part.
Limitless, yes.
It's limitless. Okay, there's no limit. Nobody knows this answer. So all the answers are wrong and all the answers are right. Even scientists are trying to figure out what is the actual substratum of that mind. Mind is a flow of thoughts. That's all we understand. There is a layer, as you rightly put in, there is physical layer, there's mental layer, there's emotional layer, there's spiritual layer, there's psychosocial layer, there's many layers, there's energy layer. A lot of allopathic traditional practitioners do not believe in the energy layer, but energy and mass are interconvertible. That's what our good old Einstein said, right? So whatever is happening in the energy has to happen in the matter. And that is the reason why past life regression is a reality, right? Some people do get relief from past life. Where did that come in? In my current brain, I can't even remember what I had for dinner yesterday. Where is the question of my good past life? How can I remember that? So that's the energy brain, or the energy layer, what stores it. Dr. Brian Weiss, the author of Many Lives and Many Master, I once met him and I, in fact, did the past life under him. Very interesting. I was talking to him and I said, I said, I'm a skeptical neurologist. I don't believe. And he said, really? You don't believe in what? I said, I don't believe in past life. He says, hang on, we'll do an experiment on you. I said, all right, I'm ready for the experiment. Very interesting thing happened. Sorry, I'm talking since morning, so I think my
Yeah, ma'am. Please.
So he went into my childhood. He did a hypnosis, and of course, I was on the stage. I was one of the participants as well. I saw my own childhood. I saw my own birth.
Wow.
A 4K video recorder, like everything. I came back to him and I said, yes, I mean, it was spectacular. My mom called, I called my mom. Did you wear this? Did my grandmom bring this? Was the room like this? There was no gynecologist. She says, how the hell do you know all that? I said, Dr. Brian Vase's hypnosis did this to me. So what he told me, I still remember it. He said something which is there in the cloud, okay? Something which is there in the cloud as a memory, you don't see it. But the moment you download and you put it on the desktop, it's accessible for you. So in that energy self, there are a lot of memories, vasanas, tendencies, what we call. We
Yes.
have in that energy layer. But the moment we put it onto, yes, Akashic records, into the layers of what is there, we put it into the conscious memory, into the conscious expression of the brain, then we can see it, we can solve it, we can resolve it. Hypnosis works on the subconscious. While in the conscious, I can look at the mind, I can talk to you. So my cognitive behavioral therapy is conscious.
Conscious,
But hypnosis is subconscious. Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pooja Agarwal for your next question.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, you worked in 3 continents, Asia, Central Africa, and North America.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is that one big difference or one big similarity that you often see around the globe?
One big similarity, we are all humans with the same tendencies, with the same, bolte na sab, I think the black crows everywhere. So we all have the same emotions, that same seeking for love, care. Emotions are all the same, irrespective, So it's all similar. There's no distinction. Outside color does not really matter.
So, ma'am, you touched very little upon Yoga Nidra. And that is a very close to us, sir. And he has given us 4 years back. And I happen to practice it for 4 years every
Oh,
single
wonderful. Wonderful. So we are doing a lot of research on that. So we do a pre-scan, post-scan, what happens in the Yoga Nidra. It's not just a relaxation technique. We have to agree that it's much deeper. You go into various layers, into various dimensions. It's not just a simple, I think Western people just characterize it as just non-sleep deep rest, but that's not true. It has a lot of spiritual connotations as well. So we are coming out with a couple of more articles on it. We're coming out with the lab, this, and masterclass, as I said, is going to come on the Udemy. I'm going to speak about various elements from the brain, whatever we see from the brain. I'm not a Yoga Nidra practitioner, but yes, I love to explore anything that is coming up. So what I do is I practice for 45 days. We see the pre and post, and we allow the other people also to do the same. And we have seen some fascinating results with that. The autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic calms down, your blood pressure improves, your heart rate falls, your clarity of thinking emerges. You start to become more mentally present. You start to have less fear. You start to be more approachable. Your sort of behavioral nuances change. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful.
Well, thanks to our mentor, he introduced it to us 4 years back. And
Amazing.
during COVID times. Thank you.
Amazing. You're really very fortunate because, this is such a lovely group, and I wish maybe sometimes I can also come for the Bhagavad Gita classes.
Yes, we'll invite you. I'll be in touch with you for that, Dr. Adatia, and you must join our class. Thank you.
Difference between cravings and addictions. Beautiful question. Every night some of you do get cravings for sugar, little bit of chocolate, little bit of dessert, after the meal. That is a craving. You can do without it also, and you have it, you're happy. But addiction is you can't do without it. You will do anything to have that. There's a dependence. psychological dependence, physiological dependence, physical dependence. You cannot let go of it. You can do anything to have that. That is addiction. Addiction circuits are very resilient circuits. And that's why, once you get addicted, khalas, your circuit sort of changes for good. And that's why very, very important to be vigilant for kids. They should not fall prey to any of the addicting tendencies because, and right now, as I speak, the major addiction is what? Screen addiction, the internet addiction. The major addiction is WhatsApp addiction. So that is also an addiction because the brain consistently is seeking that reward. And reward is nothing but dopamine, chemical, uptick. Until the time it's like squeezing the bottle. Last drop also dropped out. The brain wants that. So that is addiction. Cravings is simple.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, in one of your videos, you mentioned that, we are all born with the same brain power. So what is it that really prevents us from realizing its true potential?
Awareness, lack of work, just being aware. How many of you were aware that prefrontal cortex is this powerful even before we started to understand this? How many of us were aware that all we need to do is to work on the limbic deactivation? So awareness is the first step. Aware, care, and then dare. Care to change and then dare to be different, dare to do all the things. Knowing is knowing, doing is doing. Swami Chinmayananji used to say that, and that's such a important thing, right? We can learn. We are already in an information superhighway. How many of us are on the transformation highway? That is the question, right? Information is all around. Whatever I'm talking is not new, but what I'm talking is experiential. I want to bring this out because I did it, because this happened to me.
Thank you so much.
While meditation, if I can see any color chakra, am I on the right path of meditation? Meditation is a big topic. I always say, don't do meditation. Meditation must happen. Everything else is a preparation for meditation. Sitting straight, sitting still, breath, focus, startup, don't think this, don't think that. All that is all preparation of meditation. And colors of the chakra is only an outcome. Any which ways it will happen. Don't hang your hat on if color is changing or this is changing or that is changing. Please, nothing is really important. Blue pearl, light blue, color, this color, that color, cloud, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 does not really matter. What has to change in a real meditation will be eminent. But for all of you who are curious souls, there's an app in iPhone called Orla, AURLA, Orla. Do a pre and a post. Proper meditation, you will see those color changes. You will see that chakra. Chakra is nothing but, for all the people who know, 7 layers or the wheels, which is around in the energy layer. So it does change. And if you do energy scanning, I'm not an expert in energy scan, but I invite a lot of energy scanners so that we can know what shift is happening, what is the change which is happening, and change does happen. Change also happens if you just simply close your eyes and sit for 5 minutes. So please do that at least.
In the interest of time, let's take the last question from Meghna.
Yeah. Where is Meghna?
Yes.
Yeah, Meghna. Okay, finally. Yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you that, you've done so much, achieved so many things, like from fluency in languages and books and so much, So apart from the movers, what else can you share with us? I mean, movers you've just shared, and obviously it looks very tough, but how do you manage the time also to do everything? Your secret mantra, basically.
See, two things, two parts. Thank you for asking that question. As I said, I was into this deep emotional pain and trauma, and I really wanted the answer for it. And many, many years back, when I was 15 years, when I first started to listen to my spiritual teacher, but more was for fun, more was to go out, enjoy and all that. It was never really seriously seeking the thing. But always a phase in life comes when you are pushed down to so much an extent that, you really want to rise, you really want to do something for your brain. So thankfully that happened to me for a reason, because it allowed me to know my brain well, to allow my capacities well. But I think what I believe is purpose. So clarity of purpose with the passion. So my passion and purpose is to get this brain science to the youngest of the possible person, which is the kid, so that they can understand their brains well and then do well in life. So that fuels me, that passion, that purpose fuels me. And then of course the second part is some consistent practice, right? So it's commitment, it's consistency, it's a non-negotiable routine that you go through. So for me, that non-negotiable routine is mantra chanting. And for me personally, it's Gayatri Sadhana. So I chant Gayatri mantra absolutely, like it's a part of me, let's put it that way. And very religiously, 108 times every single day. Not a single day goes without it. It's like me brushing the teeth, right? How brushing the teeth goes. It is a non-negotiable routine for me personally, because that I resonate with it. But it can be any mantra, it can be any practice. It really does not matter. And then what is very important is, again, to be having the right teachers in your life. I have been very fortunate to have the right breathing teacher or the yoga teacher or whatever the teacher, So I actually owe my entire this to teacher. Now, this time concept is a little bit of a misconcept. Let's put it that way, Meghna. We all have 24 hours, but there are people who do amazing things, right? I mean, look at Vishnuji, who's among us. He's a peak performer. The entire organization and all, how they do it is by using actually these techniques. So movers for 30 minutes or one of the practice for 30 minutes, you actually optimize the efficiency of that 24 hours. So now you can do more in that less time. You can do better in that less time. Your efficiency is just amplified multifold. So I think that, again, time is a very limiting concept, but if you do it well, then automatically things happen. Doing things and things happening is the stage which we can reach with the PFC, prefrontal cortex.
Yes, thank you so much. That was beautifully explained. Thank you.
Dr. Adatia, this is so interesting that we can go on, but unfortunately, we have to, in the interest of time, we'll have to call it an end. And I would like to invite Neha Garudia for vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Shraddha. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Millennium Mams and the entire team, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Ms. Sweta Adatia for sharing her invaluable insights with us today. Your interactive session on activating the prefrontal cortex, spiritual evolution, brain waves and movers, importance of meditation, limbic deactivation, and so much more has been both enlightening and empowering. Your expertise in neuroscience and your mission to help us harness the power of our brains to improve our daily lives has truly left a lasting impression on all of us. I would also like to express a sincere gratitude to our mentors, Mr. Vishnu Dhanuka and Mr. Sanjay Bhavania, for their constant guidance and support, which makes events like these possible. And finally, thank you everyone who joined us today. It is your participation that makes these events truly special.